basically our program is going to be set up in 3 stages. So retreat, rebuild and restore. Retreat is basically, if a woman's in need, a lot of women, the statistics is that they have to leave at least 8 times before they actually leave. 8 times, up to 8 times prior. Each time it gets worse, the abuse when they go back. But each time they get closer and more confident to know they can do things on their own, and it's actually, it's education around that retreat stage, is education around, who are you? What are you doing in this situation? Is this okay? Is this behaviour in a marriage or in a relationship? Is that actually normal? Because a lot of women question themselves, am I the one who's abusing? Am I the one who's causing this? There's so many questions involved in that relationship, not to put fault on anybody, but to actually look at reality of, seeing that woman's okay or not, either way. So the retreat is giving them that time out, space to breathe, not just being consumed by survival. So if if we come across a woman who touches base with the DV centre, we can say, okay, well, we've got a space you can go, have a weekend away. If you have to say you're going away for a weekend with the girlfriends, whatever you need to say to have a time out, to have a retreat, to have some education around relationships and what it looks like. So that retreat stage will be having a space, with tiny home accommodation to sign, this is what a tiny house is as well. But in a bigger picture, we're going to have other DV support groups running meditations or yoga retreats or, artwork, art therapy. And then the women can come and go as many times as they need to. So that's the retreat stage, just the education and just giving them space to, to think outside of their own consuming situation, which it can be. Rebuilding is traineeships. We've linked in with other groups who provide hospitality traineeships or retail traineeships, but the main one we're going to be running is construction. So educating women in construction, it's not necessarily the path that they're going to take in their future, but it gives them an income and it gives them training, it gives them self-confidence. So the construction traineeship is also going to rebuild them as people. So we're going to build in more education as to who they are, rediscovering who they are, rediscovering their passions in life, because that's pivotal to actually being able to walk out of an unhealthy relationship, rebuilding that self-confidence. So each week's going to be structured and framed around that as we build a tiny home. So the tiny houses are going to be built by the women, and then they can either be put into circulation in other shelters to extend their capacity, but basically we're going to be working with a whole stack of other groups as well. And then obviously the latter factor is the long-term view of having women own their own land and their own tiny home to give them long-term stability financially. So getting them into stable work after the traineeships, again, whether that's retail, hospitality or construction. My main link is in construction because that's my background. There's a group called NAWIC, which is National Women Association of Women in Construction. They've got a massive network of women in construction and they provide a lot of support around that as well. But linking in with other groups to the point where the woman can go from just having some time out of their relationship to actually walking out, gaining financial freedom, gaining an affordable roof over their heads, and long-term being able to be stable in housing. So it's a full program from start to finish where the women are supported the whole way through.